You know, when it comes to classic TV shows, there are always those few what-if moments that fans just love to debate. And today, we're diving into one of the biggest from Friends. It's a single choice that could have completely rewritten the ending for one of our favorite characters.
So that's the big question, right? What if Phoebe had chosen David instead of Mike? One single decision, one different answer. And this isn't just about shipping a different couple. It's about exploring a totally different life path for Phoebe Buffay. How would her story, her entire future have changed if she'd gone the other way? Let's get into it.
So to really understand this choice, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. Let's talk about the first guy in this equation, David, the sweet, kind of shy scientist who, honestly, seemed to get Phoebe from the second they met.
I mean, their connection at Central Perk was immediate. It was so genuine. David wasn't weirded out by Phoebe's quirks, he was actually charmed by her uniqueness. And for Phoebe, who spent so much of her life meeting people who just didn't get her, David's quiet fascination was a really big deal.
But, and there's always a but, isn't there? Their love story got cut short. David gets this once-in-a-lifetime research opportunity in Minsk, and it forces them to make this heartbreaking choice. Their breakup wasn't about a lack of love, it was just circumstances. A classic right person, wrong time deal that left that what-if question hanging in the air for years.
Okay, so now let's flip the coin. Years go by, and a new guy enters the picture, and he could not be more different. I'm talking, of course, about Mike Hannigan, the man who ultimately won Phoebe's heart.
Mike came from this world of privilege, right? Totally the opposite of Phoebe's chaotic upbringing. But where you'd think that would be a problem, it actually worked. See, Mike didn't just tolerate Phoebe's eccentric side. You know, the songs about smelly cats or very unique beliefs. He genuinely loved her for it. And that was huge for Phoebe, to be chosen completely for who she was, weirdness and all.
So here it is. This is the heart of Phoebe's dilemma. On one hand, you've got David, who represents this almost fairy tale romance. It's intense, it's exciting, but it's always just a little out of reach. On the other hand, there's Mike, who offers something Phoebe has never, ever had. A stable, present love. Someone who's willing to build a life with her right here, right now. The choice isn't just about their personalities, it's about two completely different ways to be happy.
All right, so now for the fun part. Let's really explore that alternate timeline. What would life have actually looked like if Phoebe had said yes when David came back from Minsk and proposed?
If you look at her whole romantic journey, it all comes down to that final season. She meets David early on, their story is full of misconnections. Then, years later, she meets Mike, only for David to swoop back in and propose, forcing this ultimate showdown between her past and her present.
I mean, sure, a life with David would have been an adventure, no doubt about it. But think about what that would actually mean. Probably living overseas, constantly traveling for his work, long stretches of being apart. And here's the big one. It would have meant leaving her chosen family, Monica, Chandler, Rachel, Ross, Joey, the only real family she'd ever known.
So that's what it boils down to, this fork in the road. With Mike, she had a chance to build a real, grounded home with a partner who stayed. With David, she faced a future that was romantic and exciting, sure, but also constantly being interrupted by distance. She wasn't just choosing between two guys, she was choosing between two entirely different lives.
Okay, so why did the writers have her choose Mike? This is where it gets really interesting, because beyond the romance, her decision says something huge about her entire character's journey through all 10 seasons.
Think about it. David, as wonderful as he was, represents her past. He was part of a time in her life where things just sort of happened to her. Their love was beautiful for sure, but it was a story defined by interruption and circumstance, kind of like her early life.
Mike, on the other hand, is all about her growth. He represents an active choice she made to build a stable, secure future for herself, something she'd never had. He wasn't some what-if from the past. He was an anchor in her present.
So, in the end, her choosing Mike wasn't just about picking the guy who was physically there. No way. It was the perfect ending to her whole character arc. She started out as this person defined by chaos and just surviving, and she ended by actively building a stable, loving home for herself.
What's so great about this storyline is that it goes way beyond Central Perk. It touches on something incredibly human that I think all of us can relate to, whether you're a die-hard Friends fan or not. This is just the bittersweet truth of Phoebe and David, isn't it? Their connection was real, it was powerful, but timing and circumstances just got in the way. It's such a good reminder that sometimes chemistry isn't quite enough to make a relationship last.
And this, right here, might being the most powerful lesson of all. The idea of a long-lost love is romantic, but there is this deep, transformative power in consistency, in the person who shows up day after day, the person who stays, the one who chooses to build a life with you, right here and now. For Phoebe, that was Mike.
So now, I'm going to turn it over to you. Was Mike really the one? Did he represent her growth and her future? Or do you still think her soulmate was the scientist guy, and theirs is just a story of tragic timing? Who do you think was the perfect match for Phoebe? Let the debate continue.